That would be so fun.
Okay, everyone. Mr. Moreno, if you'll begin.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening and welcome to the Paramount City Hall Council Chambers. This is a special notice that public participation accessibility for the City Council and successor agency for the Paramount Redevelopment Agency meeting scheduled for November 3rd is the following. Pursuant to Executive Order number 29-20, executed by the Governor of California on March 17th, 2020, and as a response to mitigating the spread of coronavirus known as COVID-19, this meeting of the City Council scheduled for tonight, Tuesday, November 3rd at 6 p.m. will allow members of the public to participate and address the City Council during the open session of the meeting via live stream and or teleconference only. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mayor Lemons to start our meeting. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. The November 3rd meeting of the Paramount City Council is called to order. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilmember Lori Guillen and the invocation by Pastor Deborah Jameson from Lifegate Foursquare Church.
Please stand. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for the honor of being with you tonight. It's been a long time since we've seen each other, and I know today is a special day in our nation, in our city, and I would like for you just to pray with me a special prayer tonight for the elections. Lord, we come to you tonight on behalf of our city council. We pray for our council women, our government leaders, our president. We ask, Lord, that you knowing being a political leader is no small task. The power of the politics pays stress on each one. As we consider the responsibilities tonight as leaders, we ask for wisdom, health, and safety. We're reminded of what Paul said to Timothy in 1 Timothy 2:2. And he said, pray for every political leader and representative so that we would be able to live in tranquil, undisturbed lives as we worship the awe-inspiring God with our hearts. We ask for wisdom when opposite views are in hand, and we ask for wisdom that there will be responses that will be known in loving kindness and truth, spoken with clarity and wisdom. Lord, I pray that tonight great wisdom will come on the decisions that need to be made for our city by these women who serve as council members. I pray for the elections that are going on, that peace will reside in our city, in all of the cities of America, that we will not see any unrest, physical harm, or damage as the result of the elections come in. Lord, knowing that we cannot change what happens. The people have voted, they have spoken, and their answer is being made clear tonight. So with that in mind, we ask that we here would all have that same mind too, that we did our civil duty, we came together for the welfare of our city, and tonight it's paramount. We ask for your hedge of protection on our city. We give you praise for this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Jameson.
May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Here.
Councilmember Guillen,
Here.
Councilmember Quer Stallings, Vice Mayor Olmos,
Here.
Mayor Lemons.
Here. City Council public updates.
No updates, Madam Mayor.
Okay, public comments.
Yes, Madam Mayor, we have, I believe, 3 verbal public comments, and then we have a few of the written public comments as well. So with that, we'll start with the verbal ones, and I'll turn it over to Assistant City Manager, Mr. Andrew Villalpando, who will call each person.
Hello.
Good evening. This is the City of Paramount calling for Alejandro Yanez.
This is Alejandro.
Hi, Mr. Yanez. We're calling regarding your request for public comment at the Paramount City Council meeting this evening. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and your time will begin now.
Yes, thank you, and good afternoon. I'm kind of used to having to talk like an auctioneer when I have to speak here because we're only given 3 minutes. So I kind of got to do my little routine where I do my stopwatch. So I started my own stopwatch, and this is a 2-part comment. The first part is you might cringe when you hear my voice come on the microphone. that you're probably tired of hearing me complain about recreation. This comment isn't about that. This comment is to speak of, I have a 92-year-old father, Esteban Yanez, and an 80-year-old mother, Yolanda Yanez. I recently signed them up for the senior meal program that is provided by the city of Paramount. I'd like to thank the staff, especially the workers who come out and deliver those meals, and speak with my father and speak with my mother. De corazón, agradecemos todo lo que hacen y el trabajo que han dado para soportar a nuestra familia. De corazón, les agradecemos todo el trabajo que hacen. Gracias. Part 2 of my comment is I'm following up on a meeting that happened last week. Item 11, Resolution 20-030 regarding the handball courts. Ms. Gillen, Ms. Cuellar Stallings, Ms. Aguayo, thank you very much. It means a lot to our community. Although we don't have all the residents that, you would probably like to come and support you, a lot of them are illegal. That's just God's honest truth. There's a lot of illegal aliens that I'm sticking up for who don't have the voice, and I am their voice. Ms. Lemons, I'm disappointed with you. You keep bringing up that there's a lack of support. Esta pregunta es para usted, señora alcalde Lemons. ¿Cuándo en su tiempo de servicio para esta comunidad usted ha bajado de esta silla y ha venido a hablar con nosotros, la comunidad de Frontón? And that same question could go out to the Parks and Recreation Director. Neither one of you have ever, in the history of your time of service in our city, ever came down and spoken to us. If in fact your experience or your knowledge of handball is true, how many people played handball while you went out there? The fact is, you never went out there. And you continue to talk down about our sport and our recreation.
Mr. Yanez, you have 20 seconds left.
Si no pueden entender mi idioma, ¿cómo van a entender nuestra opción para nuestra recreación? You're never going to understand it because you don't understand it. And how would you if you never took the time to get him off out that chair and come meet with us? You know me personally, Miss Lemons. I speak English. You could have talked to me.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller.
The person you have called is unavailable right now. Please try.
Okay, I will try that one more time.
Hello?
Good evening. This is the City of Paramount calling for Jaime Lopez.
This is me.
Hi, Mr. Lopez. I'm calling regarding your request for public comment at the Paramount City Council meeting this evening. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and I'll give you notice when you have 20 seconds left. Your time begins now.
Thank you. I'd like to ask the City Council again tonight, as I did at the last meeting, whether they can publicly reveal how they're voting on California propositions, particularly any of the following: Proposition 15, 16, 20, 21, 22, and 25. Your residents deserve clear information about what policies each council member endorses. When the next election comes, since we don't have meaningful debates to meaningfully assess your views, taking a public stance on propositions would be one step towards a more authentic civic engagement and would provide your residents with greater transparency. When the next election comes, it would be great if we weren't bombarded with flyers that simply express generic candidate promises such as better schools, clean air, or whatever other metaphorical equivalent of politicians kissing babies. Residents deserve to know where their leaders stand on actual issues. Are you willing to make any such declarations tonight and openly provide such endorsements? Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you for your comments. Next caller, please.
Good evening. This is the City of Paramount calling for Gerald Serta.
Yes, this is Gerald Serta. How you doing?
Good evening, Mr. Serta. I'm calling regarding your request for public comment at the Paramount City Council meeting. You're being broadcast live to the City Council right now. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and I'll give you notice when you have 20 seconds left. Your time starts now.
Sure. Thank you very much for the city council members. I know it's election day. People are out and voting. I'm not too sure how busy it is, folks listening, but good thing we are being broadcast on YouTube so folks can go back and listen to this. But the reason why I'm calling today is it's getting dark a little bit sooner, and I noticed that there's still some street lights that are out. And as you know, for some time I've been going up with the poll numbers and locations with Public Works or the city, letting you know that this light or that light is out. And, you know, it's a safety issue. There's folks that need glasses at night or can't see well. And it makes it a little bit tougher when the street lights are out. I also want to bring up that there's some curbs that are uneven. And I know the city has done a lot of work, a lot of great work with the streets, the curbs. But there's still some areas that are uneven. And we've been canvassing, as you know, I'm running for Paramount Unified School District Governing Board, so we've been canvassing, and we noticed some streets that are uneven. So I do want to mention that, even though the Paramount Public Works has done a great work with the curbs, the trees, and the streets, I just want to bring it up that there's still some locations here and there that need correcting, probably grinding, since that seems to be a quick fix, but it's a good one, makes it even again. So I just wanted to mention that, and I want to thank everybody with the city for the great work with the streets. That we got new streets and a lot of improvements around the city. So I want to thank you for all that. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your call. Didn't hear it.
That's it. Okay, now we go over to Ms. Luce for the written public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. The first comment is from Andrea Crow with the Paramount Library. Good evening, Mayor Lemons, council members, and the City of Paramount. Paramount Library is providing sidewalk service to residents. Residents can request items online at lacountylibrary.org or by phone at 562-630-3171. Once the items arrive, residents can call the library to arrange a pickup time. Residents can also print up to 10 pages daily from their device to our printers using the library's wireless printing service. Print jobs can be picked up during sidewalk service hours, which are Tuesdays, 12 to 7, and Wednesdays through Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Residents can learn more about these services by going online to lacountylibrary.org and clicking on Sidewalk Service. Thank you. That completes the comment from Ms. Crow.
Was that, you have another one? Oh, okay. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The next comment is from Alfredo Banuelos. It's a long one.
Your mic, Heidi.
Sorry.
No problem.
The next comment is from Alfredo Banuelos, but it is a long one, so it may have to stop. And I did inform him that it may stop, so we'll watch the time. Dear council members and staff, I sincerely hope you are doing well and that you voted against Trump and any other Republican neoliberal candidate on the measure on the ballot. But then again, who are we kidding? First, I'd like to share my empathy with the council and staff in regard to my public comments. Unfortunately, I can't even comment without feeling apologetic. I hate to have to comment just as much as you probably hate to have to listen, but it's both our jobs to do so. It's not my intention to come on here every meeting and call you out for any little mistake that you make. I simply demand that the public and their demands be respected and addressed. That being said, I believe you can all do a much better job. I believe our neighbors and I myself have a responsibility to be much better at holding you accountable. Things are changing very quickly in case you haven't noticed. This past week, a virtual meeting on homelessness was scheduled to take place and published on social media and the city website. And at the last minute, the meeting information was changed without updating the information, without informing the public on the change, if was ever accurate to begin with. I'd like to know who was responsible for that and if the actions such as these, that fuel the flames of disdain for government. I understand that civic engagement is extremely low, and this is one of the reasons why you're used to getting away with actions such as this. From the public standpoint, it is extremely demoralizing. You take time out of your busy day to fulfill your civic duty only to realize that you've been excluded from it, as I am sure that many voters across the country are currently feeling at the voting booths right now. And it seems it is your intention with this and other actions. Little by little, the public disengages and goes back to resolving problems on their own until you anger them so much that they begin to consider the agency obsolete, as is currently the case with law enforcement agencies. A clear example of this is that most recently, the COVID-19 emergency rent relief funds didn't even get fully used. In the middle of the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, people didn't know they had a helping hand from you. It's time to make up for the deeply rooted and reinforced skepticism in local government. The city needs to do more to reach out to the public and inform them of the things that really matter, such as what they're doing in regards to homelessness in the city in the midst of the great eviction tsunami that's on its way. It is not enough to simply publish a social media post and update the dreadful website. I propose that we institute a citywide messaging system via email and texts, and that we allow people to independently opt out. Also, the eviction courts have started to open up, and the City of Long Beach is taking initiative to proactively protect tenants. The city officials in Paramount cannot lead, they should at least follow.
Thank you. Is there another one?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I have a little quick statement I need to read. We received an email for public comment earlier today from Mr. Luis Batista. However, after consulting with the city attorney's office, a determination has been made that the content is a violation of section F3E and F3F of the City of Paramount's Rules of Decorum. As a result, Mr. Batista's email will not be read in the record tonight. Prior to tonight's meeting, Mr. Batista was advised that his email may not be read into the record due to the content violating the city's rules of decorum. Mr. Batista was also provided a copy of the rules of decorum. A copy of Mr. Batista's email will be provided to each council member. Okay.
Madam Mayor, can I just say something really quick? I didn't hear what Mr. Serta said. He said that something was crooked. I didn't understand that. Did anybody get
I
that?
picked up
Were
that
uneven.
The streets
in
were
the
uneven?
sidewalks.
Sidewalks.
Curbs.
Curbs were uneven. Okay, thank you.
Okay, with that, we will move into the consent calendar. Right. Do I have a motion?
I motion for the approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second it.
Moved by Cuellar, Stalling, seconded by Aguayo. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. We'll move on to item number 7, public hearing on ordinance number 1140.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Council, are you ready for a geometry lesson? We are going to be bringing this back to you tonight. Two parts to it, as you recall. The first part is the electronic signs for gas stations, and the second part is electronic window signs for businesses in general. The council requested that we do some changes to the electronic window signs portion of the ordinance. You're okay with how the ordinance regulates the aesthetics, the look, the flashing, all that stuff, how it regulates that. But you want us to come back with a different way to calculate the allowable sign area, and that's where the geometry lesson comes in. So overall, this is our attempt at balancing the look of our community with the idea of being business friendly. So window signs are definitely a tool that can help small business owners who need the added benefit of eye-catching electronic signs. So with that, we welcome back to the podium our resident geometry instructor, Mr. John King, who will go through the item. John?
Happy to be of service. Different subjects. Ordinance 1140, yep. And John gave a great summary of digital pricing and back to the digital window signs. And upon the discussion last month, which you had a great discussion and continued the item, we brought in you can see number 2 here, revising regulations for window signs in commercial and manufacturing zones citywide. So digital signs is the main thing, but also some other topics related to windows. And here's the first part, the proposal about gas station signs. And this was only the monument signs, and it's a refresher. So monument signs are those signs just like you see in these photos, usually at the front of a property. In Paramount, no more than 6 feet in height. So there's one there on the top at Hunsacker and Alondra that they already went and did it. So they're gonna have to go back and legalize this once the, if you approve the ordinance and you know, in a couple months. Second is a proposal from the Sinclair station owners at Paramount and Alondra. And so we got the checkbox. You were okay on that one. So this evening we're going to focus a little more on the window signs. And here's the example of a restaurant on Somerset near Orange Avenue, and that's one of their images of advertising the food that they prepare. And at the right is from a flower shop. We wanted to just give some examples. What we are not looking for. These are not in Paramount, so just want to put that out there. Don't want to put any particular business on the line, but the left is actually on the East Coast. On the right is in Los Angeles in the Lincoln Heights neighborhood. So a lot of clutter. The actual message, so businesses want to advertise. They want to let you know who they are, what they do, the services. It's hard to cut through all the words. So there's a lot going on there. It kind of just, you look at it and I look away, and you might too. So those are the bad examples. And homage to our Lookin' Good program that was brought up last month. These are some examples in town that look great. By and large, you drive around the city, go up and down the major boulevards. Most businesses are actually in compliance with the window rules. And right now, the rule is no more than 40% of each window can have a window sign. And you can see a Japanese castle, walking distance from City Hall. Maybe it's hard to see behind that banner, but there's some images of the food, the sushi they prepare. Top right and the bottom right are some beauty salons, and you can see some minimal signage there. And bottom left is over on Alondra, the dentist that's been around for a while, and the new medical center they're sharing space. So you can see that there's some hours of operation and the name of the businesses. So yeah, it's direct. It's just very, very simple. And here's where we are. So you'll hear a lot about, from our city attorney, I learned a lot about time, place, and manner. So we're not dealing with content, with what they say, but what the how and where and when. So how is the programming, how the images scroll or flash or rotate? I think we didn't hear any discussion about the proposed regulations in that area. So we'll assume that you're okay with that, although we could bring up more discussion this evening. Seems like there was an agreement that we're not interested in changing the signs more than every 10 seconds or having the exciting flippy movement. And then, but where the main discussion was the specific sign location, to maybe give more of a benefit to certain businesses or window area to have these signs, a more appropriate location where it would work. So that's why we're here this evening. Here's a slide. This is the exact same slide that was provided last month. Almost the same. We made the images a little bit larger. We kind of maximized that so you can see them a little better. And so back to the programming, we were in agreement about how they change. Bottom left, now it says burritos. But the issue was, well, take the top middle, those top window area, that's called a transom window. And if we went by that rule, no more than 40% of an individual window pane, that would not work, because that's close to 100%, 90% of that particular window. Wouldn't work on the one on the top right. There's that transom window on the top, the smaller, more decorative accent type of window. It's almost 100% of that area. But there was a great comment, I think it was Mayor Lemons, who mentioned that that's probably the best location for a business to put this type of sign. It's at, think of eye level and visibility from passersby, whether walking by or in a vehicle, in a car. So the only one that looks little tricky is bottom left, there's, at that restaurant, there's some signage that seems to take up that entire pane of glass. So this is another refresher slide, and then we'll talk about how to change it. So the last month's proposal was to install on the interior of the building, so these digital window signs are to go on the inside of a suite of a building and project outward so people can see it. And here's the thing. So we had this proposal to restrict the digital sign to 25% of the window area. So we're just going to strike that. That's gone. And then the third point here is combine with other window signs up to 40% of an individual framed window, an individual pane of glass, or even a glass door. So we're going to change that. We're adding of each grouping of adjacent windows. So and we'll have some examples in a few slides. And then the bottom three are about how it's programmed. And then the more broadening the discussion of window signs in general. We made a few changes, some kind of touch up and clarification. So we looked at what other cities do, and a lot of cities, they exclude incidental information. Examples of incidental information are business hours, credit cards accepted, Yelp, little sticker, or small business Saturday, American Express, I think, has that designation. Civic affiliations, if you're a member of an organization. If you're, I've seen businesses that have a little sticker, bicycle-friendly business. Maybe you could park your bike in front. They like that. So those would be excluded from window signs. They're usually very small. So we'll set that aside. And that's very easy. So when a city planner, when one of our planning staff goes out, it's very easy to not see those. Planners think very visually. And also, we're clarifying that window signs are permitted on the first and second floor windows. As you know, there are not in Paramount very many buildings with more than 2 floors in height. But what we're trying to avoid is, there will be some built in the future. We're pretty sure. There's one right behind us here. We don't want a tower of advertising. That's kind of the thought there, and that's pretty common for most cities that we looked at. We're proposing to delete restrictions on neon signs. We're not sure why that might have been an issue in the 1980s. And we're clarifying that blinds and curtains are acceptable for issues of sun and glare. Here's an example of building, just a rendering. It's a building. And let's say it's just a hypothetical called Burgers, Books, and Brews. And here's an example window area. This is what City Manager John Moreno has mentioned in geometry. So what planners do, we take a look at the window area. You measure the length by the width. In this case, the window area, that entire section, I think is it an orangish, maybe an orange colored dash, 30 by 6. And then within that, where's the signage? There's the burger and there's the books. That sign is 14 feet by 3.5 feet, 3 feet 6 inches. So a little math here. So 30 by 6, 180 square feet. So if you go by, well, how much signage can you have? How many window signs, or how much area? No more than 40%. So we do a little calculation. 0.4 times 180 is 72 square feet. So you measure the sign, and 14 by 3.5 is 49 square feet. 49 is less than 72, so it works. So in this case, it's fine. And it's, most times we don't have to do this math stuff. You could almost eyeball it, and you could tell. Looks like it's a little less than 50%. It's fine. Once in a while, we do have to take out the measuring tape. So here's last month's ordinance. So if we went by this ordinance, and take a look at this photo. So we backed up. So in this case, in the previous slide, or a couple slides back, it was cropped. So it looked like a smaller window area. So now you can see the entire frontage, and this is on Alondra near Lakewood by Starbucks and Subway. Mm-hmm. So let's take that top area where the digital sign is. You can just kind of jump to it. It's too big. That digital sign is more than, you can just see, it's more than 40%. It's more than 50% of within the yellow dash is more than 50% of that, of the orange dash. And then if you look at the smiling woman on the right and the families on the left, those are the perforated signs. There was a little bit of a discussion on those that you could, from the outward, you can't see in, but from the inside, you could see out. So those are taking up 100% of those areas. So by today's, or how the code is now for the window areas, for the bottom part, and then for what we discussed about the digital sign, all of those would not work. It's just too large. So let's look at how we're proposing it now. So now you see that, kind of hard to see, but the orange dashed line is around an entire grouping of windows. So all the doors, the two sets of doors, the windows on both sides of the doors, and then the transom windows on the top. It's kind of has an arched shape to it. If you look at all that, maybe a little bit hard to tell, but all of that is less than 40%, and so it works. And you can see that in this case, we excluded in the left door. It's the business hours. That's taken out. You can see at the bottom in that same pane of glass there, the bottom right, there's a little sticker. I forget what it is. It might be a credit card or some type of designation. That's excluded as well. So let's take away the photo. Maybe it's a little easier to see without the photo. The yellow seems to be less than 40%, and it's a little Tetris, I guess, sideways Tetris. And it's a little more apparent. So back to same slide as before, but this is just to show that all of them work except for maybe the bottom left. We'll have to work with that business owner and property owner. Just want to speak a moment to other sign opportunities. We take your comments seriously about maybe taking another look in signs, but before we do that, just a nod to what is in the code. What are some other sign opportunities that could happen? The signage is a very dynamic type, an ever-changing topic. There's different types of signs coming out. Sometimes this year's signs we don't like comes back. There's retro kind of stuff. So here's some things. So all businesses, when they open up, they're eligible for a grand opening permit. There's no cost, no fee. They get it at the planning department counter, and it's good for up to 30 days for new businesses. Sometimes a business puts out their furniture outside. Sometimes for advertising, they do special advertising. They put different little lawn signs out in front of their business, or a gorilla on top of the tax service or whatnot, or I don't know what you call it, the hot air wavy guy. So that's a grand opening permit. Every business every year from January 1st to December 31st is eligible up to 20 days for a special event permit, also no fee, and they can have any of these special types of, even things we can't even think of. There's very creative signage out there. The sign flipper guys, those are kind of neat. Third, creative signs. Creative signs is part of the commercial parts of town. Back in, Mayor Lemons was part of this. In 2012 or 2013, we updated the sign code, and the city council instituted this option, and you just read it. Unique design, exhibit an exceptionally high degree of thoughtfulness, imagination, inventiveness, and spirit, provide strong graphic character through the imaginative use of graphics, color, texture, quality materials, scale, and proportion. And it goes to the Development Review Board. These are for more kind of outside the box, maybe sculptural types. This was in place before the code changed, but the Iceland sign, the entry to Iceland skating, it's part of the architecture. It kind of jumps off the page, you could say. Other types might be other forms of electronic or mist. I mean, who knows? It could be sky's the limit. So those are possible. And we would, in the future, if anybody has any specific types of signs that the planning department or city staff in general should look at, we're very open to that, and we'll bring it back to you. So in conclusion, we're recommending approval and place it on the next agenda for adoption. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. Back to the first picture you showed us as an example.
I could have looped back, but.
Okay.
Oh, that one?
Yes, that
Okay.
are you going to ask the owner to center it, or they are allowed only to use, like you said, 40%? Can they leave it in a corner? Or
It's
do
very
they have
open. It could be on the edge, in the middle. It's really up to the businesses to serve their needs. What's good for
Oh.
them.
Okay, well, that's very thoughtful. That's nice. Okay. And then my second question is, are you going to ask the owners, I think you did mention, going to ask the owners if they have like more than 40% of signs, are you going to ask them to remove the other signs, sir?
Well, this ordinance actually probably puts more businesses into the okay category, the looking good category. So it's code enforcement, as you know, they're complaint based. I think it's very rare for the assistant director Matson could help me out here, but I can't think of any recent code enforcement cases for window signs, although there have been a few. But does that sound right? Put her on the spot.
Madam Mayor, council members,
I don't think your
code
mic's on.
enforcement would address any concerns if it does come to our attention.
I don't think her mic's on. Can you guys hear her? I can't hear her.
Yeah, if you could speak a little bit louder,
My
Maggie.
apologies.
No problem.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, thank you.
Again, code enforcement is complaint driven. So if at any time there is a specific sign or a business that has too many signs, you can always contact our division. We'll go out, we'll work with planning just to see what has been approved, and we would work with them to ensure that we educate them about the ordinance, and we propose any recommendations. That way they are in compliance. So it's definitely educating them, letting them know, and of course, working with planning directly to ensure that they adhere to the code.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to add to that, Madam Mayor and council members, just to add to Councilmember Cuellar-Stallings' question, there are some businesses that do have the window sign, the electronic window signs that are flashing and scrolling. What you're about to approve tonight, that we will have to address, and we will give them plenty of time to make changes to it, to get it to stop scrolling or flashing. Tell them that the new rule is the new rule, so we would have to address those. And I think, John, if I'm not mistaken, you identified about a dozen of those around town, or less than that.
That's about right. A dozen to 13.
Yeah. So, but we'll like I said, we will work, with this because of the timing. If you approve it tonight, by the time the ordinance is approved, it won't be until say December. So we'll wait till after the first of the year, and then we'll slowly address that with the businesses. So.
Thank you.
Councilmember Dan, you had a question?
I was just going to make a comment when you addressed the portion of the window area, the square footage. One of the things that might assist you in passing this over is, as a police officer that works a foot beat or works patrol, one of the reasons why we don't like a lot of signage in the windows is because there's crimes that occur inside, and if you're driving by or you're walking by, you want to be able to have good visibility about what's occurring inside the location. So when liquor stores or places of business would get robbed, in broad daylight, and we'd go back and they'd say, what can we do? We have cameras. One of the things that we would always assess was you need to take some of the signage out, because it's like nobody can see what's occurring inside. So that's one of the big things that I notice, like when I'm driving around, even today, just as a Joe Blow citizen, a lot of these places you can't see what's going on inside, and that's a potential for some picking.
That would be a good finding to have included.
Mm-hmm.
And we're looking at, 60% open, 40% used for signage. Is that correct?
That is right, up to
Okay,
that.
just wanted to make sure I had. And then, I'm sorry, first, anybody else?
No.
Two questions. One is the scrolling signs. Why are we eliminating those? Was there an actual reason? Because I know that I've seen in some, especially probably banking institutions, car lots, I know some nonprofits, that they have it, with the continual message going on. Is there a problem with those? Is it all aesthetics? Is it some kind of distraction? Because, I mean, as long as it's an electronic sign, I just, questioning about the scrolling. Why is it an issue?
Yeah. Yeah, so a number of reasons. So you're correct. Our focus has been on driver distraction primarily, just making sure in hearing about causes of accidents, that does seem to be a cause. Drivers that you just kind of you're compelled to continue looking at the message.
Okay.
And
Makes
just
sense.
best
There's
practice.
been a few times I wanted to stop on the freeway when it changed just when I got there and was ready to read the message, and it went to something else. So
Right.
it
Commerce, I
makes
think,
sense.
have done the same.
Yeah. Not that I was driving, though. Second thing is we're kind of dealing with the electronic sign issues right now, but I believe you mentioned in your presentation that you're going to be coming back to us with a full review of all of the sign ordinances because we talked about some other things being out of date. Is that correct? Well, is that direction clear or no? Do we need to give it?
No, that direction's clear.
The general direction is clear, but we would love to hear if you have any specific
Comments back
examples.
from us as to
That'd be
what
great, yes.
things we would like to see changed, or so I would suggest if you drive around and you see something you like or whatever, is that going to stay legal? Is that not legal? Or see something in another city? Why don't we have any of that? And then time frame. What are you looking at to bring that back to us? Would you be waiting to hear from our concerns, or do you have an actual review time that you've set up for yourself?
Oh, I'd have to defer to the city manager or the planning director.
Yeah, go ahead, John. You and I discussed this a little bit.
Yeah, so we would look at possibly hiring a consultant to help us overhaul the sign code, just because it's been a long time since we've done it. And
I think at least 20 years.
yeah, yes, and a lot of changes have taken place.
Yeah.
So we probably would come back to you maybe within several months, maybe to award a contract to help for a consultant to help us look at it.
Okay.
But what I'd like to do, Mayor, too, is maybe do just a general presentation for the council on what signs currently are legal. Because there's, as John and John have both said, and John, that there are so many signs out there right now. There are feather flags, there are banners, there's the monument signs, there's now the visual flashing signs. There's just so many monument signs. So what I'd like to do first is to give you a snapshot of what's allowed and how they're allowed and what the regulations are.
I think that's a great idea.
So that way, like you had said, Mayor, that the council can then drive around town when you think about things that you don't like and you might want to regulate, or well, this we got to get rid of this stuff, or we got to limit this. That'll give you an idea. So.
I think that's a great idea, and I think that would be good for everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right, thank you for the presentation. I'd like to state that this is a public hearing and ask if there is anyone who wishes to give testimony in favor of this item.
Madam Mayor, there have been no comments submitted.
Anyone opposed?
No, ma'am.
Okay. With that, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, almost.
Oh, second, Cuellar, Stallings.
Moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, seconded by Cuellar Stallings. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo?
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen?
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos?
Yes.
Mayor Lemons?
Yes. And now I need a motion on the item.
This is Councilmember Aguayo. I move the item.
I need a second.
Cuellar, Stallings, second.
Okay, been moved by Councilmember Aguayo, seconded by Councilmember Cuellar Stallings. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo?
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen?
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos? Mayor Lemons?
Yes. We'll move on to item 8, a public hearing on resolution number 20031.
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council, I'll be handling this item. Back in July of 2015, the City Council approved a development agreement with Paramount Place, LLC, to build a Clearwater Crossing restaurant development. And as part of that agreement, the developer must get approval from the city for all tenants, all restaurant tenants that go into this corner. This requirement actually lasts for 10 years. And this clause in the agreement also requires the restaurant tenants to have either a regional or national presence. So they have to have, it's like a chain for regional or national restaurants. This stipulation was added to the agreement at a time when Paramount had virtually no chain restaurants in town. And additionally, the city council at the time was responding to the community's requests for these types of regional and national chains. Surveys and resident calls to council members showed that these are really the restaurants that they, at the time, that the residents wanted for quite some time. But fast forward 5 years, and Paramount has come a long way. We now have national chains in town like IHOP, Chipotle, Yogurtland, and Jamba Juice. And we also have regional chains like The Habit and Ono Hawaiian. So as a result, staff was approached by Paramount Place LLC to request that the that the agreement that they have with the city be amended to expand the possible tenant pool to local restaurants in addition to the regional and national chains. Paramount Place LLC is asking for this change because they have a vacancy, as we all know, in the suite that was formerly occupied by Pizza Press. We looked at this request and we evaluated it, and we determined that an amendment such as what they're asking for is a reasonable change to the agreement. As we all know, the restaurant industry is facing some really dramatic challenges, along with the potential lingering effects arising from the COVID-19 pandemic. So by approving this amendment, we would be allowing Paramount Place LLC to kind of cast a wider net in their search for a replacement tenant. Additionally, consumers have seen a greater appreciation for local restaurants as they've gained in popularity, particularly through social media. And we all know that Paramount has a long history of welcoming local restaurants and eateries to our business community, where they have actually thrived. Examples like Alondra Hot Wings, Hiccup's Tea House, and Horchateria are a few examples of that. So with that, it is recommended that you approve the resolution before you tonight, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. I just have a quick question. This is labeled as a public hearing, but I don't have public hearing notes. So is it a public hearing or isn't it?
It's an amendment to the DDA.
Did we get that? Was it published, John?
It was published.
It was posted,
It was
yes.
published. It is a public
It is a
hearing.
public hearing.
I
It is a
apologize
public
if that's not on the motion sheet.
No problem. I just was like, well, where is it? Am I missing it? Thank you. Okay. So this is a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to give testimony in favor?
There's no
Anyone in opposition?
none submitted.
Questions or discussion? Not, I'll entertain a motion to close public hearing.
So moved, almost.
Second.
Moved by Vice Mayor, almost seconded by Council Member Guillen. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. May I have a motion on the item?
So moved, almost.
Second, Aguayo.
Oh, go ahead, Aguayo.
That was stereo. Okay, moved by Vice Mayor Olmos, and I think I heard Councilmember Aguayo second it. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Aguayo,
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen,
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos,
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Okay, we'll move to item 9, a public hearing on ordinance number 1142.
Oh, yes, Madam Mayor and Council, I'm really excited about this item. This is a long time coming. In our ongoing efforts to bring more transparency and simplicity to our operations, we're proposing a new way to access the city's Book of Laws, otherwise known as our municipal code. Our code has been available to the public online for a number of years, and before that, to find specific laws, here's what you had to look through. You had to look through this to find what you were looking for in the municipal code. Although we currently have an online version, it's an improvement over this, so we can find things a little bit easier, but it's still cumbersome to search for ordinances that we're trying to look for, what the public is looking for. So our city clerk has been on a months-long journey to simplify the municipal code using the latest software technology. And as you'll hear from Heidi in a second, we want to emphasize that we're not proposing any content changes here. We're only proposing structural and organizational changes that will make it much easier for people to look for things. So with that, I'll turn it over to our city clerk, Ms. Heidi Luce, who will handle the item. Heidi?
Thank you, Mr. Moreno. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Before you this evening is an ordinance that will update the city's municipal code to a more uniformly organized, user-friendly platform and pave the way for implementation of a completely searchable online version of the code. This ordinance, as John mentioned, does not make any changes to the content of the code, but rather simply adopts a reorganized and reformatted code that will ultimately provide Paramount residents, businesses, and the general public easier access to our code. So, to provide a little background and explain how we got to this point over the last couple of years, this process started in July of 2018 when the city entered into an agreement with Quality Code Publishing and embarked on a project to recodify the Paramount Municipal Code. This project included reorganizing, renumbering, and reformatting the code. Some of the key components of this included preparing a code structural plan, which reorganized our prior code sections and ordinances into logical titles and chapters. It created an expandable numbering system, which is highly flexible and more easily accommodates the addition of new material. We also developed history notes showing the origin of the code section and any amendments to that section. The table of contents was updated to include the title of each newly created chapter and section as an easy visual reference to the chapter. A statutory reference table was created listing state laws that pertain to or affect the city's code. An ordinance list was created showing the disposition of every single ordinance that the city has adopted that is included in the code. And we developed a prior code reference table was developed as a cross-reference to help users using the code find a new section based on what the old section was in case people have the old sections. So here's a picture of the new code. Isn't it more beautiful than the one John had? And look, I've got a new copy here too.
Excited.
So it doesn't seem like you're too excited. Okay, maybe it's a city clerk thing. I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So now for the exciting part. Let's take a look at the new online version of the municipal code. But we're going to start by looking at the current online version. As you can see, the code currently is divided into 48 chapters organized by articles. You see the articles on the right-hand side, A7, A5. Since it was not searchable, if a user wants to find a particular regulation, let's take window signs, for example, they would go to the alphabetical indexes at the bottom in the W section, and then go to the appropriate chapter and article, which in this case is Chapter 44, Article 6. They'd click that link, scroll through the entire 38-page document to find the exact section they are looking for. So as you can see, it was a very cumbersome process. So now, let's move to the new code. The new municipal code will be hosted on Quality Code Publishing's server, and they will handle all of the updates once we adopt the ordinances, but there will be a link directly to the new code on the homepage of the city's website. So if we go to our website and click the Municipal Code button, it will take us directly to the new code. As I mentioned in my report, the code is now organized by titles and chapters. Title 10, for example, contains vehicles and traffic, everything related to vehicles and traffic, and Title 17 is where all the zoning regulations are. You're probably wondering what the yellow caution triangles mean. They signify a section of the code that has been updated recently by a recently adopted ordinance, but the online version is pending update. So let's see what changed in Title 9. It's 9.32 related to parks and recreation. As you may recall, in March, the city adopted brand new park regulations, but asked staff to come back later with some amendments. The code alert at the top of the page tells us Chapter 932 was updated by Ordinance 1130. If we click the code alert amendment list, we see that on June 2nd, the City Council adopted Ordinance 1130, which amended the sections listed on the right of this page. If we want to see those amendments, we can click Ordinance 1130, and it'll list the exact items that were amended by that particular ordinance. Probably one of the most exciting parts about this project is that our code will become completely searchable. So let's take the window sign ordinance we just discussed as an example. If a Paramount business wants to know what the regulations are concerning window signs, they can go to the search engine, type window sign, click Run Search, and it will pull up all of the sections related to window signs. Once the ordinance you discussed tonight is adopted and codified, all of the new regulations will be available and searchable online. So that was just a quick demonstration of some of the features of the online code, and I hope now you're as excited as I am. So with that, it is recommended that the City Council read by title only, waive further reading, introduce ordinance number 1142, and place it on the November 17th agenda for adoption. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Heidi. Questions?
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
I noticed the features on top are the ordinances downloadable and printable? I saw that there was a feature that says print.
They absolutely are.
Print and you can download them?
You may.
Anyone else? I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
One is, you pointed out to us that the yellow caution tag, what meant that it was new and updated, but I was looking on the page for the legend that said that. Is it there? I don't see it. Like, the legend should be there and say, if you see this, it means updated code.
It's on the very beginning page.
Well, it should probably be on the page where the codes are, because you don't remember what you read the page before, probably. I mean, that would be a suggestion, I would think.
Thank
you had
you.
to point it out to us. We were wondering, well, what are those? And if somebody is, keeping regular tabs on something, that way they could look right at it and know what it is. So,
Sure.
a suggestion.
Thank you.
And then, is an outside agency put this together, right?
Correct. Quality Code Publishing.
Okay, are they going to do the updates, or are we responsible for the updates?
They will handle the updates on a quarterly basis.
On a quarterly basis.
So the ordinances will be posted as soon as they are operative, and the actual code pages will be updated quarterly.
Okay, so if we change something, they don't have to wait a quarter to see it. It's somewhere where they know.
We send it to them as soon as we send it to Quality Code Publishing as soon as the ordinance is adopted. Then they will put it in the code comparison table. And if a member of the public is looking at the website, they will be able to click that ordinance and see what those changes were, which was the demonstration I went through looking at the
Right.
individual ordinances.
But then what is the 3-month wait on? What were you talking about when you said
They
it'll
will
be-
change the actual code sections in the online version of the code, and it won't be linked to an ordinance anymore. The online code will have the actual
Oh, okay,
corrected
so-
language
All right.
every quarter.
Okay. I get what you're saying, not that I understand the difference between the two, but okay, yeah, I understand what you're saying. So one section is easily identifiable that something happened there, and then the more in-depth paperwork gets changed within 3 months.
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
Oh, you know me, yes, I like it.
What?
No, go ahead, John.
No, I was just saying, as a former librarian, Councilmember Cuellar Stallings probably loves this stuff.
So you're as excited as Heidi is, huh?
Kind of like Dewey system.
I have to ask you, Heidi, was this a suggestion of yours after looking at John's book, or has this been something that's been
Actually,
on the table?
this started before I came.
Oh,
I was just the one to get to carry it across the goal line.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other questions?
If I could, real quick, I think I'm very excited about it and I think, John, you probably are too, because it still said that the city manager was supposed to live in the city. Remember that? So we're glad it's updated, and if you'd like us all to do the wave right now, we will.
It's okay. I can see your excitement now.
Yeah, there's been several of those throughout the years. I know that codes that people will come to me with and say, well, that hasn't been in effect for 20 years, and the new one's just not updated in the book. So like you said, this should help us a great deal stay on top of things.
Yes, it will.
Okay, with that, this is a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak in favor?
No, ma'am.
Anyone in opposition?
No comments in
Can I
opposition.
have a motion to close a public hearing?
Motion. Cuellar Stallings.
I heard the motion. Did I get a second? I missed it.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Guillen. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Aguayo?
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen?
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos. Mayor Lemons.
Yes. I've never known you to be quiet, Laura. You got to yell so I can hear through this plastic here. Okay, now I need a motion on the item.
So moved. I'm like, second.
Motion by Cuellar Stallings, seconded by Aguayo. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Okay, we're going to move on to item 10, an award of contract.
Yes, at the last meeting, we asked the council to reject the bid for this project. It was too high in cost, and we asked to get approval to try it again and do an informal bidding process. We don't want to lose a grant that we were awarded to build this park amenity, so time is of the essence here. So with that, I will turn it over to Adriana Figueroa, our Public Works Director, who will handle the item. Adriana?
Thank you, John. I don't know that I can be as entertaining and energetic as Heidi West, so I will try my very best. Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, as you know, and as John indicated, the City Council authorized an appropriation from the Capital Improvement Program Reserve Fund and entered into a grant fund agreement with the U.S. Soccer Foundation for the development of a mini-pitch soccer court at Dills Park. The U.S. Soccer Foundation grant funds are provided by the Target Corporation. The city's portion of the project consists of grading, landscape modifications, irrigation modifications, and construction of a new post-tension concrete slab with an electrical feed for the court lighting. The U.S. Soccer Foundation would then supply and install the mini-pitch court itself, which includes fencing, court markings, and lighting. At the October 20th meeting, the City Council rejected the bids for the construction of the project as only one bid had been received and it was significantly higher than the engineer's estimate and budget for the project. At that same meeting, the council approved a finding that compliance with the bidding requirements in Section 18-28 of the Paramount Municipal Code for this project was not in the best interest of the city. Staff was then directed to solicit informal proposals for the construction of the new post-tension concrete slab only, which is required by the U.S. Soccer Foundation grant. This would allow only the concrete portion of the project to proceed, given grant requirement deadlines. I should know also that the CIP project number for the concrete slab is now project number 9150. Subsequently, 3 bids were received, and the apparent low bid submitted by CS Legacy Construction, Inc. amounted to $105,726. If approved tonight, the concrete slab will be installed as soon as possible to keep with the November deadline to give the concrete sufficient time to cure before the U.S. Soccer Foundation places their mini-pitch soccer court on top of the slab prior to the grant deadline in December. So with that, it is recommended that the City Council authorize the award of contract for construction of the concrete slab to CS Legacy Construction, Inc. in the amount of $105,726. And that concludes my report, but I'll be happy to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Adriana. Are there questions regarding this item? If not, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second, Quer Stallings.
Okay, been moved by Councilmember Guillen, seconded by Councilmember Cuellar Stallings. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. Item 11 is the mayor's appointment for a member of the Board of Trustees of the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control District. That appointment is going to go to Councilmember Aguayo. And I must tell you that should your scintillating reports not come up to the level of our former mayor, Tom Hansen, we may have to replace you. We've come to expect great information about mosquitoes.
I look forward to learning about mosquitoes.
Okay, thank you so much. And with that, we're going to move into council member comments, and we'll start at this end with Councilmember Guillen.
Started with me last time, but that's okay. Let's see. Just a couple things. TAMS is still an issue. Saw a close one tonight on my way to City Council. And if we could get a follow-up on where we are with
Sure.
the TAMS issue on ordering. And then I was sitting here scratching out a bunch of notes that I wanted to read into public comments, but I'm sure you're as excited as I am about tonight's voting and you want to go home and see some election results. So I'm going to keep it short. I just want to say, in the end, no matter what the outcome is, we still need to work together for calm and unity. And the world is watching, our community is watching. So, let's be paramount. Let's be upstanding citizens and, just do what we need to do and stay calm, and let's hope for the best and prepare for the worst. So, happy voting day, everyone.
Vice Mayor almost.
Well, ditto what Councilmember Guillen said, but I do want to make a comment regarding the virtual neighborhood watch meeting, just so the residents know that, the city did post a social media acknowledging the error of the phone number or the identification number to get into the Zoom meeting. But I also want the residents to know that the meeting did happen. We did have residents that did come to the meeting, so thank you, residents, for approaching. And again, so it's on the record that we did have the meeting that night. Dave, I just want to say your Halloween activity night was fantastic. I was there for about 2.5 hours. I got scared in one of the sections. They did scare me. They did a great job, well attended. I know we had some issues regarding traffic down Paramount and Rosecrans, but I think the kids were just excited to be there. You guys did a great job. Reminder for the residents that this Saturday we'll be having our flu shot, our first ever flu shot drive-through. Super excited. We're going to be giving the flu vaccine to anybody that's 6 years and above. So it'll be this Saturday from 9 to 12 at Paramount Park. So we hope the residents come out and get a shot. And thank you to all the sponsors that helped us to put this together. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Cuellar Stallings.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did attend the neighborhood watch, and it was very, very informative. And I also attended the fire extinguisher training with Steve, and that was very interesting. I had to turn off.
I saw you pictures of you putting out the fires. You were good.
And my husband was very excited that I attended that. So he's now you know how to turn off a fire. So I'm like, I hope it never happens. Anyway, I also heard great things about the Halloween event. David, thank you and your staff and faculty. I wasn't able to attend. I got a bad headache that day, but I had good intentions. But I did hear great things from especially my neighbors. And also, I just want to say Happy Veterans Day to all our veterans and active military, including my brother and my husband. And I want to wish my granddaughter, who on Veterans Day, that my dad was very proud that she was born on Veterans Day. So happy 12th birthday, Ashley. And last, be safe, stay healthy, and remember, we are Paramount. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Aguayo.
I think the sentiment, the feeling is pretty, right across, I think, with all of us. But it's really awesome, to see all of the events that, Parks and Rec, takes care of and puts on for the residents. And, now we have this amazing opportunity for our residents to receive the flu shot. So big thank you to all those sponsors. And, there's only so many of us, that are on staff and, council. So we can only do so much. So as residents, we also have to be responsible and, if you see something, share with your neighbors. The city's putting this event on, or I heard that, whatever it is, that's how we communicate, and that's how we make these events successful. Because we can, I can sit here and we can blame whoever we want, but at the end of the day, we also have to be responsible for ourselves. Things happen from time to time, and it's okay. It's okay. We acknowledge it and own up to it. And, again, it happens. So with that, again, take advantage of the amazing things that Paramount offers. We are such a special, special city. We can't compare ourselves to any of the other cities around us. And that's why other cities look to what Paramount is doing. So with that, of course, there's a lot of rumors of, craziness, at the end of the night. we need to rise above that like we always do. And just, remember, we keep saying we are Paramount. We are Paramount, and remember that and remember what it means. So have a blessed night.
Thank you. I would just like to say that, yes, we shouldn't compare ourselves to other cities, but I'm going to because I had visitors that came to our drive-through Fright Night that were from 2 of our surrounding cities that are much more affluent than the city of Paramount is, and they were just like wowed and like, why can't our city do this? And this is so fantastic. And they have visited before for our breakfast with Santa and our tree lighting. And they came to this because they usually come to the Halloween carnival. So I'm just proud as punch that, every time they come here, they're like, what your staff does, what your city does for free in your community is beyond amazing. We pay for these events in our city, and they're not even half the quality that Paramount puts out. And I know because I've exchanged the favor and gone and visited theirs and left early because it was really boring and poorly done. So I will compare, and you guys are phenomenal, and you do a fantastic job, and I feel very fortunate to live in the city of Paramount. So thank you. Thank you very much. Staff comments.
Just a few, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much, obviously, for the comments to Mr. Johnson and his staff. They did get creative this year under a time crunch and under what we've been dealing with COVID to come up with. I think one of the biggest hits was the home decorating contest. That one really took off, and some creative looking places. So thank you for allowing us that freedom to really get creative and do what we can to deliver different events and services to the community. We appreciate that. A couple things were mentioned about the neighborhood watch meeting. Yes, that was a mistake, and I do take accountability for that. That is something that was published, the incorrect information. We did put that out on social media. We apologize to the community for that. But we also responded back to Mr. Buenuelos' comments because he did email about that, and we emailed him back saying we have the whole entire neighborhood watch video available if he'd like to see it. So we apologize to him for that.
John,
so I
just for people who have no idea what you're talking about,
Sure.
what was the mistake or the problem that
Yes,
happened?
thank you. So there were two social media posts that advertised for the virtual neighborhood watch meeting. Social media post number 1 came out a week before the meeting. And it had the correct information for the Zoom conference ID information. And then social media post number 2 came out the day of the neighborhood watch meeting and unfortunately had the incorrect passcode and information. So if you got the first one, you definitely had the right information. But if you only got the second one, it had the wrong information. Yes, Councilman.
The flyer was incorrect too.
The
That's
flyer
what he
had
was
the old information
Yes.
too. That's the flyer that was on the website, I believe. So
No, the one that was mailed out or
through-
something.
oh, through the around
Somebody
town?
sent me a
Yeah.
picture of a flyer this big,
Uh-huh.
hard copy,
Okay.
that had the wrong
Okay.
address.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's where the mess up occurred. But in any case, I believe we had 20 residents that did go on to the Zoom meeting, and it is recorded, like I said. So we do have that available. And Vice Mayor almost already mentioned the flu shots, so thank you for that. So thanks for that. So
Did I do good enough? for you?
What's that?
Was it a good enough?
Yes, it
announcement?
was. Thank you. And that concludes. comments.
Okay, thank you. The next item we were scheduled for was a closed session, but that item has been taken off calendar. So with that, we will adjourn to November 17th at 5 p.m. And I'm going to call to order the successor agency for the Paramount Redevelopment Agency. May I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Here.
Councilmember Guillen.
Here.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Here.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Here.
Mayor Lemons.
Here. Are there any public comments?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay, a motion on the consent calendar.
So move, Quer Stallings.
Second, Aguayo.
Moved by Cuellar Stallings, seconded by Councilmember Aguayo. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Aguayo.
Yes.
Councilmember Guillen.
Yes.
Councilmember Quer Stallings.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Olmos.
Yes.
Mayor Lemons.
Yes. With that, we'll stand adjourned till December 15th at 5 p.m. Thank you, everyone.